I'd asked you this at the last meeting, but if you people don't mind weighing in, was everybody involved last year, last October the 1st, or if not, then on Earth Day? Was everybody in on this? Hey, Eric, there you are. Well, this is wonderful. Okay,
No, I'm new,
you're brand new, Patricia. Okay, then
brand new.
even more important. Patrick, you were?
Yes, right. In fact, that's where I joined
Yeah.
SCAN, was last
So,
October
mhm.
1st.
So you're all across the country, and I think the main thing that you have in common is that that's what you did. And I would like to just ask you to tell some sort of highlight from that occasion, because you all went into it having no idea what the outcome would be or were there any surprising elements. And if we could just go around, you could introduce yourself and say something about October 1st or possibly Earth Day if you weren't October 1st, and just something that came out of that reminded you how worthwhile it is to do these things, because there's so much work, but they have very surprising outcomes. So who would like to start and just tell us what that meant to you? Okay, I'll start with Patrick. Thank you. And then maybe Peggy and Brian.
Well, I wasn't really involved in planning last October 1st. I
No,
was
fine.
almost totally unaware of SCAN and Seniors for Climate, but I saw some advertising about the event coming up.
Mhm.
Decided I would go, so my partner and I went, and so we were participants. And as I said, I was impressed enough to join up for a scan on that day because they had a sign up list and a place to put your $5 in a jar to join up. And I bought a scan T-shirt as well.
And not only that, but you are now one of the movers and shakers in the Guelph community, and we've been in contact. We've had a workshop together. So good on you, Patrick. It was a good outcome. Peggy, what about you? Were you involved, and what do you remember mostly?
I was more involved in the preparations for Earth Day than
Okay.
actually in the Earth Day celebration. And it's just, I like putting my creative mind around things. And so that's a very fun thing for me to do. I'm a bit of an artist.
Okay, well, I'm a bit of an artist too. So tell us one creative thing that the group did that you enjoyed being part of.
Well, I'm not sure if it was this October celebration, but we made a big Earth out of
Okay.
the balls that you can buy in Chinatown for making lights or putting around lights to have a little globe paper. But we made it like the earth. And so it could be handed from generation to generation. And that was a pretty powerful symbol.
I'm writing this down. I think I saw photographs of that. Were you in the movie?
No.
Okay. Anyway, it's a brilliant idea. Brian, what about you? Thank you, Peggy, very much. What did you're on mute?
It was in the movie. Yeah, and that's a great idea. I think I might put it in this year's event. Uh, for we uh, hooked up with the local senior center.
Okay.
We showed the short version of the movie 3 or 4 times. People react very well to that, and we showed the full movie one time. Uh, um, so that was a very good connection, and that's going to be ongoing. I'll go back to October 1st because the flash mob everybody loved it, both the participants and the people who watched it. Um, and the other memorable thing from that was that the sound system was on October 1st was powered by a bicycle, which I thought was a fantastic idea. So as the speaker was talking, there was a guy behind him on the bicycle, or a woman bicycling away.
Oh my
Uh,
God. We are
uh,
writing these things
well,
down.
it was
Yeah.
really on. It was really on the mark for green energy, I thought.
So we've only
Yeah.
been into this 5 minutes. We've already had two wonderful ideas. So let me see. Patricia, tell us about your involvement, and then Amalia, and then Eric.
Hmm.
Anything you remember particularly? Oh no, of course, you're the one that said you're brand new. Oh, you're on mute. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm new, so I don't have anything to share.
Okay. Do you have any aspirations? Or is there anything that's going to come out of this new September 20th event that you're hoping for? What do you hope will happen? What are
Um,
the
well,
birth
yeah, I have no idea. It could be very small, but I'm hoping that it can be artistic. So because I think that makes it more fun. I hope it can be fun and creative.
Oh yes, hold out for something that's going to be fun because it's like Ryan was saying, the flash mob. I mean, it's fun for people watching. It's the music is fun and it's energizing. It makes people want to hang out and come back.
Could you tell me more about the flash mob?
Sure, Brian, go ahead. We've got lots of videos of it. You could send that to you. Brian, are you going to tell about the flash mob or would somebody else like to do that?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening. Uh, well, the flash, what would you like me to tell you? There was I guess, 15 or 20 people involved, and they had a choreographer, and they had 4 or 5 practices, and of course, the beautiful thing about the flash mob is it becomes a social experience. They had 4 or 5 practices, and they enjoyed the practices, and they enjoyed the flash mob, and they enjoyed the attention. So
Yeah.
everything was good. There's nothing bad to say about it.
And I think the music was staying alive, staying alive. That's what I think.
Well, there could be all kinds of music, but yeah, I think that's probably what they had.
But you're right, it is a bonding thing. And at the end, people are just laughing their heads off because you kind of made a spectacle of yourself and you made all kinds of mistakes, but you're with your gang and it's thrilling. It's a very unusual thing. And there's something about doing this sort of stuff. It's kind of like Red Rebels, is that you're being a collective in public. And people sort of are kind of surprised by that because they don't usually see people operating voluntarily as a group, maybe a sports team, but us doing our thing together is moving. It's moving for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, Eric, tell us what you got going for you.
Yeah, I wasn't in Victoria for the October event. I was off in Europe doing a bunch of research and into sustainable transportation. And when I got back, one of the most inspiring events that's happened since was been a birthday party for a bike and roll lane, which actually was a very nice, creative, but very simple event organized by a group of people here in Victoria who are mainly young families with kids who ride cargo bikes.
Oh, that's what the rolling part is it? What is the roll or rollerblades or what?
No, the rolling is what people who use wheelchairs and mobility scooters tend to use in North America.
Oh, okay.
And we've had a campaign here to get the provincial law changed so that it's, clear. Right now it's a gray area. So it's clearly legal for people to use wheelchairs and mobility scooters.
In
Oh,
a
nice.
in a
And
bike.
so my hope is that we have a really kind of celebratory thing about all our really nice new protected bike lanes downtown, that includes families on cargo bikes along with seniors on mobility scooters.
Well, that knocks my socks off because both my brother and I use rollators like every day, like walkers, we call them rollators. So I could, if I had the guts, I could step out into a Toronto bike lane. It would be worth my life, but why not?
Well, the other thing is that you can. I'm not actually planning on everybody who's using a mobility scooter to using their own one. People who use devices like that quite often rent them to try them out.
Okay, I get it.
So, and that's the point, is actually to show how this actually works in the flow of traffic. Is actually a practical thing.
Mhm.
The modern ones go between sort of 15 and 22 kilometers an hour, bicycle speed. Nobody's going faster than that in downtown Victoria. There's too many tourists walking into the bike lanes.
But you're already mobilizing for September 20th. You've already got a whole demographic that's ready to hop on their rollerblades or whatever. Anyway, we'll come back
Yeah.
to you. We hear from Amelia that you've got a lot cooking. So who hasn't spoken? Catherine, how nice to see you again.
Yes, my camera's working now. Yes, I organized an event in Kelowna on Earth Day, and with organizations that I associate with for climate. And we went to the library and showed Later is Too Late, and elected officials came. I had 2 interviews with CBC and Castanet, which really, was really broadcast. And so I think we got our message out. We want an electrical grid rather than a buildup of fossil fuel projects. And now I'm really taken with the ribbon chair. And I think, and our council hasn't been moving. Like, our council says a lot of nice words, but is not moving on such simple events as a composting program they turned down. And so and a lot of fancy words, but nothing really moving happen. And they're slow to get on the step code. So what we're going to do is invite our students as well as seniors and people to this ribbon chair event in front of mayor and city council and present them with this chair. And then after, and I'm going to invite everybody because there's not a lot of us who are organizing. So I'm just going to invite everybody from everywhere I know to come to City Hall. And that'll be our vocal point. And then people will wear red, because nobody's going to be wearing all these costumes that are just sporadically turning up. And I want everybody to turn up. I don't want it to just be an event for certain people coming with a costume. And in Kelowna, it just doesn't work. I've lived in Kelowna a lot of years. And so if you leave it open, more people will come, and they'll wear red and carry a sign that's to their liking about climate change, right? So after we come out of the council meeting, we'll go around the block. And that's when the wheels comes in. I had a knee replacement surgery, and I had a terrible time getting over it and thought maybe I was never going to have the mobility again. So I'm really open, and I want an event where people with wheels can attend and come and be part of it. And we'll just slowly walk down and around our big block area, which is around City Hall. And then that will be it.
Okay.
But I think that's enough, and we'll bring out the media. So that's what I'm hoping to do.
Now, Catherine, that thing about the chair, did you hear about it when we were on the other line and they were talking about the chair of the generations from Quebec with the mothers in the front line?
That's what I'm talking about.
That just knocked me out. I think
Me too. It just hit me.
dazzling, wasn't it?
It was just exactly what our council needs, to have an empty chair and say, this is past, present, and future generations that you need to account for in climate change.
Can you please explain that? I don't quite understand. I can't imagine it quite.
Well, it started out by the mothers in the front line. What is it? Maire au front in Quebec. And they get school children to take a chair and then decorate it to the nth degree, all kinds of ribbons and bicycle wheels and all kind of stuff. And then the idea is that they go and present it to the mayor or somebody on city council saying, when you are making decisions, maybe sitting in this chair, make them for our generation. Your job is to look after us. And here's the chair to which you are answerable. And I know, I think we have to make a whole campaign around this thing. And I did send out some information, but I'll send it to all of you. Because you could actually incorporate this into a parade that you're having. You could have a chair and you could process to the end of your promenade, wherever you're going, and then to present it to somebody. It could be the mayor, or it could be somebody in your community who's like a hero or a heroine of the climate movement. Like, it's so symbolically rich and beautiful and creative. Who is looking for something creative? Peggy, I think you should get on this. Okay, who's next? Who hasn't spoken? Hey, Amalia.
Yeah, so
And
I
David.
have I just want to show you the earth that Peggy so masterfully made last year.
Oh
Very
my God.
beautiful. And it looks beautiful lit up, but we didn't quite make that happen because it was used in a dance.
And you put light,
But
you could put a light inside it?
yeah, we didn't, but
Good.
it
Okay.
could happen in a dark, if it was in a dark, like at night,
Okay.
it would look beautiful.
Okay.
But so that was sort of that symbol of passing the globe from the adults to a child who was sitting on a tall person's shoulders, who was reaching down for it. But that was part of a dance that I had choreographed. But what I was really going to say about you asked what the sort of lasting effect or the memorable thing about those events was that two things. We had a lot of environmental organizations of different kinds that came together in this sort of environmental fair. And I think, I don't know how much difference we made to the public, but it was really, it seemed valuable to have these different people that sort of cross pollination of these different groups being in the same place at the same time was very
Mm-hmm.
interesting. That we created a lot of connections that way. And also, the other result that I think might have been from that event is that our tiny group of 10 organizers now has swelled. Apparently, 50 people, around 50 people, have gotten in touch wanting to be involved in Victoria. So we're going to have a meeting on Monday. And so we have, like, I just feel excited. I don't know if they'll all come, but even if half of them come, it will really swell
Mm.
our ranks. So that
Now,
was
isn't
very,
that fantastic? In 1 year, like just,
yeah.
Seniors for Climate has to take be really pleased with how many people have got involved and then maximized all those efforts. Anyway, these are wonderful reports. David, tell us your
So,
in.
one of the things I think I really like about color and movement, so all these ideas, is that it really draws people in much more, I think, than speeches and everything else. Like people are curious, like what's going on over there? Let me go take a look. And one of my observations about a lot of actions that we've had in the past is that we promote them a lot, but when it comes to actually having photographic proof of what happened, we miss out on it. So one of the things that Seniors for Climate has really emphasized for October the 1st and for Earth Day is photography and video, and let's collect it all. So I was the one who collected all the photographs and videos that we could get from all the locations across Canada, and
Oh,
I got to watch them all, and I got to look at all the pictures. So there are so many remarkable pictures. One that really stands out in my mind is the St. Andrew event where they had uh, a drone, a drone camera. And
yes, do that.
the
Eric,
drone
take
camera
note.
started off just over the crowd, and then it went a little bit up in the sky and showed you the trees around where they were standing. Then it went up a little bit higher, and then you saw the town. And then it went up a little bit higher, and you saw the ocean. And it went up a little bit higher, and you saw these sailboats on the ocean. And down in the center of it all was the event that was happening on October the 1st. Just incredible, like
That's
that one
incredible.
drone thing.
Yes.
Uh, and so out of all these videos and photos and stuff like that, we got Seniors for Climate got 2 months of social media posts that we were able to post. And it looks like it just kept on going and going and going. And so those pictures of people actually doing stuff are much more attractive than any text that you could put in a post anywhere.
And you're so completely right. Like, really, I don't think I really need to be speechified at anymore. Like, I don't need somebody to stand in front of us and tell us stuff that we kind of, in one way or another, already know. I like us to be mobilized and entertained and danced at and droned. Like when the Red Rebels were captured by a drone. Oh my God, we so fell in love with ourselves because it looks really, I'm not kidding. We looked so great. And we were so impressed by the impact that seeing ourselves from up on high. Anyway, those are really, really good. And we haven't even got started yet. So let's do that. Let's talk about what we're thinking about, which is this sort of wheeled promenade, wheeled event. And when I wrote that up in my little booklets, I don't know if you've seen the booklets called Tactics for Collective Climate Action. Has anybody seen those? Oh my God, I must send out links. That when people the point of this thing was to go as slowly as possible. Now you don't want to be disruptive, you don't want to get arrested, but you could manage to go very slowly on a giant thoroughfare and just make a big impression. That's my thing about this, but it doesn't have to be that at all. It could be anything that you want it to be, anything that your intuition tells you is the most effective thing to do at that moment with those people. Yes, Patrick.
When you say go slowly, is the idea to hold up traffic?
Well, no. I didn't say that. But you might be very slow getting out of the intersection and then quickly getting back in. No, I think it's get attention is to say we're here. We're not inconveniencing people on the road, but God damn it, you must pay attention, must be paid. Here we are. We've got a message that's for everybody.
Hmm.
Hmm. I'm not really recommending it, but I might do it. I might personally do it. Okay, who's next? Who would like to say something about the potential for that kind of event? And Eric, you were the one person who actually signed up for this workshop. The rest are hangers on. So why don't you kick us off and tell us what you did, why you did that, and what's happened since?
Yeah, what I'm interested in is, yeah, it's a slight variation of what you're proposing, which is to have a celebration of climate action and how a wide range of people from little babies to seniors in mobility scooters, hopefully one of our yeah, hopefully also power wheelchairs. And yeah, and just using our bike and roll route network, which, as you know, is under attack by the, um, well, I want to call whatever you want to call whatever you want to call people like Trump and Ford and all those people who love fossil fuels and cars and hate public transit and bicycles. Um, they're on a big attack against bike and roll routes. And a lot of the politicians in our region, in the province, are getting scared about this, not so much in the city of Victoria, but in our region. We've got a lot of politicians who are now afraid of the Trumpers because they're very rude, they're very loud. They've got support in the media from, particularly our daily paper, not the reporters, the people that look like us who are the senior editors. Um, and yeah, I really think that having you know, a bike and roll, which would be fairly slow, but not walking speed. About 12 kilometers an hour is what a normal power wheelchair does. So my idea is we get somebody with a slow mobility scooter or a power wheelchair to lead the way. And that's fast enough so that beginner bicycle riders um, don't find it challenging to stay upright. If you go really slow, people fall over. And yeah, to basically have this as mainly a video and photo and media event. And it either be something that happens before a larger event, or it goes to a larger event. Or, if that's all we can pull off on the 20th, so be it.
So what would a larger event, like you see, okay, so just can explain that a bit more. Do you see there being some other central core event happening and you would sort of make your way there? Like, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, I'm involved in Climate Justice Victoria,
Okay.
and we're one of the groups that pulls off the all ages rallies. marches. And we may be able to pull off a decent sized one. We had, our last one, we had 500 people, and that was a small one.
Hmm.
So, and it's like, that was a real struggle because we only had 3 people really working on it. And no support from paid NGO people, and not much of a coalition behind it. If this time we can get a little bit of help from the seniors group, a little bit of help from the youth group here, Common Horizon, and a little bit of help from the particularly Dogwood, which has a core of volunteers, we can pull off probably 1,000 people without killing ourselves.
Thank you. That's a brilliant introduction. Dave, you're on.
So Eric, I'm not sure if you saw, but WeCan sent out a note yesterday announcing the September the 20th thing. So they have a fairly extensive network. So that's good news. But I also wanted to ask you, have you considered maybe having wagon floats attached to some of your wheeled vehicles?
That's actually a really good idea, and particularly, the kids actually really like dressing up their the cargo bikes. And the cargo bikes even more than the trailers, because the cargo bikes are the kids are up higher so they can see better.
Yeah.
But yeah, kids in bike trailers, dogs in bike trailers, all that decorated could be really great.
Dogs in particular seem to attract a lot of attention in photos. So
I had Catherine.
I just wanted to say to Eric, I think it would be really, I don't know, impactful if you did the chair with the Victoria politicians, for instance, David Eby. If you were able to do that ribbon chair at some kind of ceremony on the Parliament buildings for David Eby, I think that would be really important and very impactful with all the things, with everyone on wheels and walking and students, to have that empty chair. I don't know, that really hit me, that chair. And I guess I'm just saying, you look like you're really a person who knows how to organize, and I'm just wondering if that could be part of that, because that's our government hub, Victoria.
Well,
I'm not the one to organize that, but I'm connected with people who are these people who, with the parents with riding with the cargo bikes. A lot of them are very, very motivated around climate. And there's also the teachers are doing things. So yeah, I think there's a real potential for those groups to work on that. And yeah, maybe I could think about how to trap David Eby.
Yes, teachers have been doing that a lot with their students. So teachers and students, maybe that's the avenue.
Well, I'll
Thank
send
you.
you all the information we've put together on those chairs of the generation. Okay, I had a vision. Okay, here's my vision. When you were talking about drones and we're talking about bicycles, like what if you picture sort of the center of the city, and then different groups are sort of coming in like the spokes of a wheel from different neighborhoods, and they're finally ending up all together, and the drone could capture this. Here comes this group. Here comes the people on, I don't know, whatever, but it would just be like a harmonic convergence from all over the city. That's my vision. Okay. Okay, who else? What's next? What's next? Patrick.
Yeah, we've only had one meeting about a week ago so far of our group here in Guelph to plan for September 20th. So we're in very early stages with our ideas. We were kind of hoping that the Guelph chapter of the Climate Action Network might kind of take the lead here in Guelph to get various groups all involved in September 20th, but they don't seem to want to do that. They're willing to participate, but they don't want the lead. So it's beginning to look like our SCAN chapter is going to have to do that. So I know our chair, Gina Lamel has been in contact with 3 or 4 or 5 different groups. And with that in mind, if we're organizing something for all age levels, not just us seniors, something like what Eric was saying, we were thinking of the parade as leading to one of our downtown parks where we have a number of different events involved for kids and the whole families and so forth. One of the ideas about that, do you remember when you were a kid, you had these things on a stick that were like a little windmill that would blow in the wind?
Yeah, sure.
Well, one of our creative people says that she knows how to show people how to make those. And so we were thinking that we would have a place where kids could learn to make these little windmills, and then we would stick them in a special place in the ground and have a big sign up calling that a wind farm.
Yeah. Wow. I'm writing that down. I'm writing that down.
So anyhow, but so of the 3 different ideas that you propose, I guess the rolling wheels, the slow wheels was the one that kind of hit us perhaps the most appropriate. If we could get people of all ages, kind of like what Eric was describing, in a parade to head down towards this event at one of our downtown parks, and that might work well. Now we haven't had much discussion yet about what the parade would look like and how it will be organized and so forth. So I'm hoping to get more ideas out of that from today's session.
Well, thank you for your excellent idea. Okay, Dave is next. And would you introduce Eric Murphy, because he was involved in the Toronto event and he's hiding behind a screenshot, but I'd like him to be hello too.
Yeah, I can quickly introduce myself. So,
Thanks.
yeah, I'm Eric Murphy. I do admin support for Seniors for Climate. So, some communication stuff, some Zoom event work like this. It's funny, for October 1st, I wasn't really there on the day of. I had some other things I had to take care of, but I was extremely involved in the lead up. And I think one of the things we started off discussing was what was something that made us excited about the event, or we were happy about it. I'd have to say just the reception, because I was there kind of from the very beginning when we didn't know how big it would get or if it would get big at all. So in that really just a few months between when we started working and the massive event on October 1st, that was, I think, the greatest thing for me to see there.
Oh, splendid, splendid. Well, we've got another one upcoming, so I'll see you on Friday at our meeting. Dave, you're on.
So I'm just going to add, Eric, you it may not stand out in your mind, but all the people who received the Seniors for Climate flags last year, Eric was the one who sent them out and ordered them and everything else.
Thank you for that.
Yes, that's true. A lot of stuff leading up to the first. Yeah.
Yeah. Another idea for a wheeled parade. How about bicycle acrobatics for entertainment? Are there any bicycle acrobats out there? I know as a kid, I used to love riding my bike over ramps and flying into the air and doing fancy stuff. And there were a few people that were actually quite good at it.
Yeah, what if there was a ramp or something set up in the park or wherever the central meeting place? That would attract. And any other kind of bicycle focused people, like is there a group trying to preserve bike lanes or anything, like anybody else? What about any other bike clubs? Is there anybody else who's not really in your consortium of climate people, but could be invited by virtue of their love of bicycles?
I remember now that there's a troop in Europe and that's all they do, like bicycle tricks, whether it's, like 2 or 3 people on a bicycle, almost like a circus, but a lot more performance oriented as opposed to being trying to get laughs.
Mm-hmm. Well, the first time I saw a nude bicycle parade in Toronto, I almost fainted. But evidently they do it for body positivity, which of course we're all into body positivity. So I think this is an interesting potential alliance. Yes, Amelia.
So I invited Peggy to this meeting specifically because she's one of the main people involved in Grandmothers for Africa in Victoria. So she could speak to that, but there are a lot of avid cyclists who cycle for the sake of others. So maybe Peggy could speak to that because I think there might be chapters in many other places in the country.
Don't know about that. Tell us, Peggy.
Well, we have a growing group of grandmothers in Victoria, which is really unusual because the AIDS crisis in Africa looks like it's pretty under control, which it totally isn't. So our goal is to support the Stephen Lewis Foundation and the work that they do with community groups in Africa. But I think that there's a lot of cyclists who just love cycling in the group. So we have a big fundraising event where we usually raise over $100,000 in the one event. And that is a cycle around this area in Victoria, but also there's 30 people that cycle from Campbell River down to Victoria, which is 375K. And they do that over 3 days. But I think that there will be potentials, not just with the Grandmothers for Africa, but there's also about 4 different cycling coalitions that I know of in Victoria that could get involved in a bicycle type event. But I'm cautious about bike aerobics because I also have a partner whose son does BMX biking. He's pretty good at bike aerobics, but he also just smashed his body recently. So I think there's a liability issue if we start getting into stuff like that.
All right. Okay, who else has something? Oh, Dave, your hand's up.
Yeah, I'm reminded of an artistic community that I visited, and they had kind of a wheeled parade. It was all like at human speed walking, but they were pulling wagons with stuff they had done. And one of them had stuff that was, I guess, battery operated lights that was quite effective. So just for attracting attention and stuff like that. And like, it's hard to describe, but it was like different circuits and stuff like that would light up at different times. And it was during the daylight and it was visible. So
good. That's good. Amelia, you said that you could imagine the Red Rebels playing some part in this event. Can you describe to me what you had in mind?
Well, actually, I'm having a little bit of trouble with it because the Red Rebels generally have quite of a somber presence, although I think also the red stands for vitality and life and vibrancy. So I'm trying to figure out how to do it because the bikes will go very fast and the Red Rebels go very slowly. But my thing I'm trying to do is have these various people in Victoria doing various things and sort of connecting it together. So right now my idea is that the Red Rebels might show up at different parts of town throughout the day. And I don't really understand the ribbon thing, not the chair ribbon, but the long fabric thing. I'd like to learn a little more about that. And I wonder if there's a recording of that think tank that I could look at.
Okay, well, the Red Rebel group and the Red Ribbon group, Dave has asked if they want to have sort of a check-in meeting. I forget what date it is. Maybe it's on the 26th. Just like, how are you doing? What's come up for you? What have you gone on to think about? And I don't know if this group would like to join in too, just to share what's happened between now and then. Would anybody be interested in doing that? Well, you don't have to say, but we'll send you an invitation. Would we not?
Yeah, I love the idea of coordinating a lot of things. So not to disperse ourselves, but rather to sort of show the connections.
Yeah. And the thing about the Red Rebels, like this is one of the things that I'm very keen on. But it can't be exactly what it is everywhere else. And one of the groups who was considering it said, it's too expensive. Like we would have to get these elaborate costumes and we can't do it. So a couple of the people in Red Rebels Toronto and myself said, well, what about this? What about that? There are lots of ways you could make cardboard costumes, with a red skirt flowing beneath it and have a fancy headdress, or they could be riding bikes. Like, let's just take that sort of idea of the Red Rebels and do with it, put Peggy on the case, do something that would sort of highlight other things that you're doing, but they would clearly be Red Rebels, and anything that the group here in Toronto could do to help think about options, that would be great. They can sing, they can dance. Yeah, Dave.
So I'll just mention there was a recording of the Ribbons think tank, and it's available on the Seniors for Climate YouTube channel if you're interested in watching it. Under workshops. So if you look at the playlist for workshops, it's under there. And I'll also try to see if I can dig out, I think there was a video of what happened in Penticton with the flags, and that will give you more of an idea of what they did.
Well, this has been so fascinating. I guess I'd like to ask you, is there anything from this conversation that has sort of taken you one step further in saying, I'd like to I'd like to start thinking about, an action plan and something that I will do as a result of this, maybe getting in touch with one of the people that are on this call, or you're going to research something.
I have
Patricia?
a question. Are those Seniors for Climate flags still available if I make a donation, or?
Eric?
I don't think we're asking for donations for them, but yes, there are still flags available. I have a few of them, and I believe Rolly has at least 15. So if you would like a flag, do you have the Seniors for Climate email, the contact one, or
What about if she
anything like
puts
that?
her email in the chat?
Yeah, in fact, if you put your email in the chat, I can reach out to you.
Okay, yeah. So how big are they? Are you talking about small little flags or a big one?
No, they're larger. They're kind of standard flag size, which if you kind of hold them instead of them being high up on a pole, they almost look more like banners. I believe they're 4 feet by 6 feet.
Okay, well, that would be good. Again, we're brand new, so it would be good to have one. So I'll put my email in the chat. Thank you.
That's great. Okay, Brian, and then Catherine, and then Patrick. Brian?
I'm a little bit off your topic, Jane, but all this talk about mobility has inspired me. I am mobility restricted. Are there any other people on this call who are mobility restricted?
Me.
Won't you? Yeah. I sort of suspect there are quite a few people who are, though, and I like the idea of some of these mobility restricted discussions. I don't know how it fits into your main topic, but I'm certainly going to see what we can do about including something in our in Calgary.
Well, it'd be almost like a challenge we could throw out to ourselves and each other. Dave, maybe we'll pick up on this and follow up with it afterwards. Catherine, and then Eric. Have I missed people? Catherine and then Eric? And then Patrick. Sorry, Catherine. No? You're on mute, love.
Oh, no, actually, I thought I'd put down my hand. Sorry about that.
Okay, so Eric and then Patrick.
Yeah, I think that what I've discovered is in Victoria that it's kind of hard to find people who actually own their own mobility scooter, and use them on the bike and roll routes and are interested in climate issues and talking to the media and all those kinds of things. But my idea is either through the one community association that does things with provides used mobility scooters to seniors who need them, or just through the dealers that rent them out on a daily and weekly basis. is we get a few people who want to try them out, want to try find out what it's, who have mobility issues and want to see what it's like to use a mobility scooter on a bike and roll lane,
Mhm.
and to get those people to be part of this action. And because that is actually part of the whole point of uh, including the mobility scooters in the discussion is to get people realizing that this is an option and that you can actually use people who aren't using it now because they no longer ride bicycles or have never ridden bicycles can actually try it out and decide whether they like it or not.
I love that. Mhm.
Just like, get a few people if people and actually this is one of the things I want to do is make sure that our event has a budget. Climate Justice Victoria has a little bit of money left over from our last demo.
Mhm.
I'm hoping there'll be funding from whatever groups to be able to pay for things like mobility scooter rentals.
Splendid. Thank you.
Can I
Patrick,
just make a last point on that?
Brian,
Since
go ahead.
we don't get a chance to talk about it very often, but there are, I don't know what there are about statistics, but the fact is, if every house had a mobility scooter in it, where you could use the mobility scooter to go to the store instead of bringing your car, that would be a very climate friendly activity. And mobility scooters in this day and age are not really all that expensive. And so I really see it as a climate a climate benefit, whether you're mobility restricted or not.
Okay, thank you. Patrick and then Peggy.
Really, just a question in terms of the Seniors for Climate flags. Were there not some plans to have a different kind of flag specifically for this September 20th event created? And does anybody know what progress was being made on that?
I can speak to what I know, although I guess there may have been a discussion that I wasn't on the radar for. As far as I know, there hasn't been a discussion of any updated flags. When we talked about them in the past, the issue we had was that everyone from the previous year, if we updated the flags, they would show up to the event and then they might feel like their flag was outdated. We wanted to keep using the same flag just so that there would always be like a level of cohesion at the different events. And then I guess the other thing we wanted to avoid was groups feeling pressured to get a new additional flag, and then, we would end up having to make and ship multiple flags to the same group, which obviously isn't ideal for the environment. So as far as I know, there's no plan to replace the previous ones. We're using the same as before.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Eric. Peggy, and then I want to have a word with Patricia before we conclude.
I just wanted to ask if there's also a plan to do some education around the mobility devices in the big bike lanes, because I think there are people who think they're not allowed still. And so I think there's an education piece that needs to happen as well. And I don't have any amazing ideas about how that could be done creatively, but it seems like there's an opportunity to educate people about the benefits of using the bike lane
Yeah,
for
good.
mobility.
That's good. That's good to take this opportunity and say, how can we build other social justice and community friendly things into what we're already about? So I'm just going to say to Patricia, because you're new, is there anything you would like to ask anybody here or anything that we can do for you to reinforce some of these great ideas or give you some solidarity?
No, other than I'm very impressed with what you're all doing, and I appreciate just being connected with you. And we'll see what happens in Kamloops. It might be very, very small. I'm not sure how many organizations will be able to inspire to
Oh,
enroll.
it's a funny thing. Has anybody ever been in a demonstration with less than a dozen people? It doesn't feel that bad because you've got 11 buddies and you go away and you're kind of pleased with yourself because you've sort of made yourself vulnerable and you've put yourself out there, which most people haven't. It's not really that bad. And very few people hurl abuse at you. I don't think I've ever had, well, somebody told me to get a job once, which I thought was pretty funny. But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, right. The only other thing I might ask is just permitting from the city. I'm told the other person on our committee is saying that we have to apply for a permit and we don't even know where we're going to go or what we're going to do.
If it's on city land, you need a permit. If it's on public land, you don't.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, well, anyway, we'll see what happens.
Well, I hope we can get together again and just hear. So,
Thank you.
anybody would like to make sort of final words about what you're going to do, or anything that you would invite people to get in touch with you about, something you're trying to figure out, or something you would like to help somebody else do?
I'd like to just throw out part of our plan in Calgary. It's still in the making, but part of it is to have a concise message that we want our legislators to see, that we will print one word at a time on cards, and we will have a group photograph, which will say MPs, MLAs. This is what we want, and those cards. So we're hoping to have a large group with lots of cards and a photo or video, which we will send to every MLA and MP in Canada by email.
That looks terrific. I've seen pictures. It's very, very dramatic, photographically speaking. So how many words are you thinking of?
Well, we're working on the wording
Okay.
because, yeah, so it's tough to get this message down to something really concise, a concise ask rather than something very general.
Stop funding fossil fuels.
Well, yeah, but my ask is not stopping anything. It's start promoting green energy.
Yep,
Is
that's even better.
so I'm more into starting than stopping.
They did that in Fredericton with one letter per person, and their
Yeah.
message was "We vote."
That's the concept. But what I really like about this is it's so easy to do this and email it to every MLA and MP, and you've got some direct connection there. And anyway, that's what we're gonna. I'm
Are
pretty
you,
confident that's what we will do.
Brian, are you old enough to remember the Burma Shave ads when you drive along the highway with your father on the way to some vacation spot, and the Burma Shave ads would come up on the side of the road? No? Okay.
I'm old enough, but I don't remember.
Okay. This was a prairie
Old
thing.
enough to
This
not
was a
remember.
Winnipeg thing. Okay, anybody else?
I remember orbits.
What was Orbit?
There were the trash cans along the side of the highway in Manitoba.
I remember those too. Okay, well, what a brilliant time we've had. I've got about 18 ideas here. As I say, I have put out these booklets called Tactics for Collective Climate Action, but I can go into it and I can add things. So I've got 3 things on my list.
Do we have those booklets?
Well, I can send you a link this very moment. They're extremely good. That's all I can say. I'm not bragging, but they're very.
And do you have our email?
I did it just for this kind of occasion where people say, because I do a lot of orientation with SCAN, and people join by the dozens and they say, I just want to do something, but I don't know what to do. And most Canadians don't have like a big vocabulary. We're not a very revolutionary sort of culture. And people say, I don't know what to do. Okay, Amalia, tell me.
I just want to clarify that I understood Eric Murphy correctly. So what I'm hearing is that the National Seniors for Climate Group is maintaining the same logo, but changing the little motto. Like last year it was later is too late, and now Draw the Line is actually from 350.org. So I just wanted some clarification about that. So we're still using that logo that's on Eric's screen there. but we're using a different motto, or is that motto just for this?
No, the model stays the same.
Yeah.
So our basic messaging has not changed.
It's
Stop
later
burning
is too
fossil
late.
fuels, take bold action, and the equity for the people as well.
Okay.
But we're still using that later is too late
That's correct.
line. Okay. Could you just say once more, stop fossil fuels, equity for the people, and what was
So
that?
that messaging is on the website.
Okay,
I
okay,
think it's on the landing page of the website.
okay.
So what we have said in the past two groups, because we've got, you know, a minute or two left, is we'll just leave the call open. We just leave this call open. If anybody wants to stay behind and have, like, I don't know, Victoria people want to talk about stuff, or anybody else, just stay on. We won't cut you off.
I just wanted to comment that you folks in Victoria must have much better bike lanes than we do here in Guelph, because I wouldn't want to take a bike, let alone a wheelchair, out in the bike lanes that we've got here. But maybe yours are actually, maybe there are barriers between the bike lanes and the traffic, because we don't have that here in most places anyhow.
We had a biking mayor.
Yeah.
I would like to throw in my 2 cents. I live in Calgary. There are no bike lanes. I drive my electric scooter all over the road, and I'm happy as a clam with it.
I would like to ask for your information, Jane, if you could send it by email to us that have attended, perhaps.
Oh,
All
sure.
your information about protesting and drawing us together. I would really appreciate that, and I'd read it.
Well, do you know what? I appreciate you, because the first time I talked to this whole group, I was quite nervous because I think there was 80 or 85 of you, and I was going to do my presentation. And I was so nervous. But for some reason, how you can see 4 or 5 faces just beside the screen when you're showing a PowerPoint. And so I said, talking to a group of organizers is probably the dream of my life. It's probably the best audience I can ever imagine addressing. And you were there, and you just broke out of this big smile, and it gave me courage, because if somebody had sort of rolled their eyeballs, I might have thought, oh God, I've got the wrong tone or something. But anyway, you gave me such a big smile that I just kept on in my same vein. It made me very happy. Thank you. So I owe you. I owe you.
Thank you. I owe you too. Thank you very much for being here.
Okay, my darlings. Anything else? Any last word?
I thought that Catherine asked for your coordinates.
Oh, is that what she did?
That's
Oh,
what I
No,
heard.
no,
No?
I asked for the
Well, then,
information about organizing.
yeah. Okay, so I'm asking for the same thing.
okay. Well, I'll just write them in. But organizing, what the booklets are about are tactics. Like, here are things that you can.
Tactics,
Okay.
So
please.
What's your email, Jane?
just yesterday, I think it was, I got an email from Seniors for Climate with a couple of attachments that had all kinds of ideas about things to do and how to organize. So I don't know if there's some overlap or they're the same things as what you're talking about.
Me? You speaking to me?
Yeah, yeah. Let me see if I can.
Well, I think what's happening is that the communications committee of Seniors for Climate decided that they would suggest 3 or 4 tactics that people could use, because not everybody knows quite what they want to do. But there's hundreds of possible things that people could do. So we did come up with 3 things. And one was this a ribbon thing. Another was Red Rebels. And the third thing was what we're talking about today, which is like a wheeled event, whatever it's going to be called. And so that's what Dave and I have been talking about. But maybe there's lots of other people saying, here's some good ideas. Consider that. Take this to your group in Guelph and see if this was something that they would fancy. I don't know, but maybe it's just an embarrassment of riches, Patrick.
Yeah, well, it sounds like maybe it is. I'm just trying to find the email that I received, and I can't spot it right now, but it had a couple of attachments, and I haven't had time to go through them, but they looked like all kinds of really useful ideas for anybody who's planning something for September 20th. So I just didn't know whether that was.
Well, they're all for you. So I think I'm going to check out and then just leave anybody who wants to stay talking to anyone else on this call, and just tell you I wish you the world of good and all the good luck in the world. We'll keep in touch. Bye.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to stop recording.